Well, I am going through untangling masses of, I don't even know. I've done such a good job of untangling that now they're untangled, but they're in piles. For example, imagine this gob, but 10 times bigger and very, very compacted. And carefully I untangle what I can untangle, and sometimes I untangle something as little as, don't tell me, this, one bead on a string. And other times I untangle a set of beads on strings. And other times I untangle the entire necklace that has not yet been finished. So this is a finished pendant or drop necklace that has 3 antique Chinese or Japanese coins and a piece of fool's gold or something and a couple of chips of turquoise. And then all of these beautiful knots that my father would make. And then he'd put them on he'd somehow connect longer strings to this, and I don't know what his secret was. And then he'd put a loop on it so it would go around your neck, and then he'd call it a day. And this one would be done. And so on the ones that he is in fact almost completely finished, or in fact finished, I've been putting them into separate little baggies like this. Cat, what do you want? And I put them in a big box, and we'll deal with them later down the road, a piece. So sometimes I don't get all of them in the box, which is annoying. In the baggie, I mean. And sometimes getting them partially enough is enough. So that goes over here. This, sometimes I can tell what my dad was going to do, and sometimes I have no clue. So on this particular one, I have no idea which end is up. Maybe all of these were meant to go up. Maybe it was meant to go like this. And so I don't know. So it's going to go in here. And I'll find a medium, and we'll have a seance, and I'll say, okay, Dad, I've got projects here for us to complete. This one is quite neat. It has 3 antique Chinese spoons and some red beads and a little piece of black coral, I think. A couple pieces of, I don't know, those were maybe malachite or something. So that's going to be fun. Behind me is a lamp, a floor lamp that has 6 light bulbs in it. And I was thinking that if we keep that lamp, which I think we're going to do, and move it up to the lake, it might be fun to have some small, dense pendants like this be the pull, the chain pull. I wouldn't have anything overly long that would get tangled up, but see, this is a finished necklace. It has, a dozen pieces of something on it, and he decided that was enough for that necklace. Most of the time his necklaces had hundreds of things on it, or yes, hundreds of things. And he called these things collages. And so this is some raw material. This is a necklace that he bought in New York at some jewelry thing. This is priced $50. Did he pay $50, or was that the retail and he got it for wholesale, or what? I don't know. But let's pretend he paid $20 for this. And he was going to take a scissors to it and take off 2 of those little red beads. Or maybe he would have kept the whole thing as is, but then add things to it, which he also would do. This one, oh shit. This one is a finished, oh, I've got 2 of them. See, this is what happens. They start mating. This one is a completed necklace, and this is sort of a weird one because it sort of has everything and the kitchen sink in it. So it has a bone and a piece of antler. This black thing is black coral, which is quite expensive and rare. There's turquoise bits. There's a little cowrie shell. Here's a stone something. Well, let's just find out what they are because he wrote down the recipe here. Rare black coral with antler, with antique charms from Afghanistan, turquoise shell, and miscellaneous knotted and tied waxed linen. And he was selling this, believe it or not. Well, he had it priced. Obviously, it didn't sell, for $295, which I think if you added up how much he paid for the parts, let's say he paid $20 for that piece of coral, and I mean, I have no idea what he paid for the parts, but I know damn well from stringing the things that I'm stringing together, if he gave himself a wage, he would make under minimum wage. So this is a piece of Afghanistan or Iranian or Persian or whatever necklace probably, and then he added these little 5 noose-like things, which would have 6, because the middle one has 2, and then it would have been these would have gone one way on one side of your neck, and so imagine this is the cleavage right here, and then here's one boob, here's another boob, here's the cleavage, and this would jingle, jingle, jingle as you're walking through the grocery store, getting your, what do dames buy? Your maxi pads, your Feminique, your Replens, or whatever. I imagine the woman that would wear this would also need Replens. I would think that her undercarriage would need moisturizing. What are your thoughts? Okay, this is part of a necklace that has, I like, just looking at this stretched out like this, it reminds me of, when I see the picture of the moons of Jupiter or something, where they're all lined up. So this looks like it was finished, but to be priced or connected. And how he would connect these things, sometimes it was just a string that would go around your neck and hang between your boobs. And other times they'd have a clasp, so they would be tight up against your throat. So here's another very simple necklace, has 7 things on it, maybe 8. Well, let's just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 things. Oh, no. There's 8. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things if you count the string. And I don't know what this, I think this is a piece of coral. Or some sort of undersea adventure. And done with my one box of baggies is already gone through. 120 baggies. So I've bagged more than that because I've opened up another box of these things. Cat, don't even think of coming up here. So this is one that he put together with hundreds of beads. So let's say, how long does it take to string a bead? 30 seconds, maybe. Then you tie a knot, then you add another bead, and you tie a knot, and I mean, this is hours worth of work. And this, the orange and cream colored stuff, I think I talked to my brother about this, and he agreed that maybe we'll put this up at the cabin. We have a bathroom that's orange, so I'm saving things that I think can go up to the cabin. Cat, down. To put up at the cabin. And so far, he's okay with it. See, this might make a nice drop for a lamp that has a little chain, pull chain. And we have a couple of those lamps up at the lake, that table lamps or floor lamps that have those chains still. And I think that would be a nice way to do it. But we also have up at the lake, we've got lots of fishing poles and fishing lures and stuff. And this one, where did it go? Here. This one, this looks like a fish hook already. This has been fashioned out of a shell, and it's going to catch the big one. Throw away that Basserino and that whatever those spinners are and those other whatever those names are for those French ticklers. No, is that a fishing lure? Or is that some sort of dildo? Or condom. I don't know. What's a French tickler? Write your answers below. This one is kind of cool. This is again the one that I think would be a nice pull, except if you pull it wrong, you'd cut yourself. I think these are shark teeth or some sort of teeth bone, and lots of little gold bits. It's just, and then metal things holding the teeth. And I think the metal things holding the teeth are how he bought them, because he would not have had the patience to use metal. But this is beautiful just as it is. And again, it can be finished somehow, or it can be just put in a baggie and put in a box and put in a closet and never be seen again. One of the reasons that I'm making these videos and putting them online is to sort of show what it is about these things that I find interesting. And so here's another necklace that could have been cultured pearls or freshwater pearls and little stones and lots of knots. Hours worth of work. I'll show you a little bit of what I'm doing with these things, because I think I'm following a little tiny bit in my dad's, wearing my dad's hat, trying to do things in his image to a degree. This is, again, a piece of raw material, 50 somethings in some language, Iran, I think, that were made into baubles, and then they were made into something. So each one of these things is 60 whatevers. Are they from Australia? Where's Schiavella when I need them? So this is 50 koala bears and 10 dingoes. Or is it the other way around? How many dingoes in a koala bear? Or how many kangaroos in a dingo? How many babies in a dingo? At least one, right? Dingo's got my baby. He also made these things. Now this was not going to be a necklace. This was going to be this one might have been a necklace. But he also made pillboxes out of these metal trimmed shells. But this has a fish, and it's also orange, so I think that's going to go in the orange room, the orange bathroom. So my brother was very upset with me because I'm using this stuff up. And I said, you know how much that bead is? I said, no. What bead? These are amber. These are expensive, just this one bead. Well, I'm not throwing it away. I'm not putting it down the garbage disposal. I'm making something out of it. Well, I said, if you need to sell it, just cut it apart, sell it. You know, I'm not wedded to these things. Here's a bunch of brass things, including a heart and rings and kidney beans or whatever those are. And I have one of these that I wear in Boston, except it's silver, and I wear it around my neck like a bow tie. It's sort of like a bow tie choker and bolo tie all rolled into one. And I've worn it to a couple of formal affairs, and people leave me alone when I go up to the cocktail. I was at the bartender to myself because everyone runs and hides. Okay, what else do I have here? So I'll show you what I've been doing with these things. I've been taking some of these things which have been partially made, and like this thing, this was a piece of wood which broke after the necklace was made. Here's the other half of it. So it had looked like this. And anyway, the pieces that are broken, I've been trying to figure out what to do with. And I got it in my little head that I was going to create. I watch these astronomy lectures and stuff on YouTube to help me go to bed. Here's another nice one that's really cool. It's all very dark little beads. It looks like, you know, if there was such a thing as a love child of Morticia Addams and Betty Rubble, this is what that person would wear. because it's not what's really fun about these things, or many of these things, are they're not pretty, but they are beautiful, I think. And they don't look like they were made by a jeweler, but by natural, I don't know. It's like when you look on the shore of a lake or the ocean and you see driftwood and fishing net and fish bones and maybe a couple of seagull feathers all tangled up into a gob. No one put those together, but they sometimes can have a really nice beauty about them. And that's what these things kind of remind me of, that they grew naturally rather than were designed by a person. So here's again another necklace that was finished except for the part that would go around your neck. So look at all these little pieces of ivory or bone. Could be antler too. A lot of antler bits. So he would buy one of the things. So here's how he would, all of this, oops, this all was probably one raw material thing. And he'd add this to his shopping cart and then go to the cashier and then buy it. And then he'd buy maybe a bunch of string like this, and then they all got tangled up all by themselves with a little help of my dad. Unintentionally tangled. I mean, some of them got tangled up and turned into necklaces. Like this one is a necklace. Now this might have been a choker. Turn your neck green in about a minute and a half. But I look at these things and I laugh because a lot of them have a really fun, I think, sense of humor to them. And I think my father knew that. They weren't all serious. Like this one, this is it needs just to be finished and a price tag put on it. And this would hang between your boobs on your chest, and it's from a chest. This is a back plate from a chest of drawers. So it's appropriate on that piece of furniture, or just above your cleavage. What are your thoughts? Okay, so I'm done with this. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I've been doing with these things. And part of what I have been doing is I could go to the basement, and in a drawer would be thousands of beads. Or in another drawer would be thousands more. And sometimes they're big beads like this, all, in a drawer of sort of big round things. And sometimes they're a drawer full of little tiny white pearls, and sometimes they're other categories. And then there's huge clumps of things that have everything in them, because my father would work on 8 or 10 things at a time, and he'd have 8 or 10 workstations where he'd be putting these things together. Like this one is finished. This is just a simple, this is his tag. It says Gustafson on a little brass tag. And then you have to, we'd go from the house to the lake, and he'd put all the things he's working on in a satchel and bring them up, and then dump them out on the table, and then start making them again, and then rinse and repeat. He'd do it again and again and again, but he wouldn't bother to put them in little baggies to keep them separate. He would just put them all in the bag and bring them home, and then the next time you put another clump in a bag and come home. And so they all got, as you can tell, they could easily get tangled. I'm going to put this one in here because they both look like they could belong together. So I opened up a drawer to try to sort things out, and I found gobs like this big, full of completely entangled things. This and this. I haven't untangled this gob, but this is like a tenth of a gob. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with these? So I started thinking about creating spherical things, which reminds me of images I see of future space missions where NASA or what's his name, the new guys on the block that build rockets on their own, Musk, is that his name? And etc. Tesla man going up and finding an asteroid and chopping it apart and bringing it back home and selling it. So I've been making gobs of things. I find a spherical base. This is a transparent, looks like a transparent Christmas tree bulb, but has colorful bits and pieces in the glass. And I thought, well, I'll add really colorful baubles to it and some colorful string that was in these. There's a little diamond. No, it's a glass bead. So here's one of the asteroids that's going to be mined. So let me just show you some of the asteroids I've been coming up with. Don't go away. Don't even think of going away. I'm wondering whether I think I dropped a bead in my coffee. So again, I watch all of these shows on YouTube, scientific shows and lectures about stuff, and I learn a little bit about asteroids and how planets are made and things like that. So this was a ball, silver colored ball, as you can see, it's like a huge golf ball that we had at the lake and we brought down to sell in Minneapolis, having a big garage sale. And I thought, well, I remember buying this for $1 somewhere, and I thought, well, I'll take it back and I'll make a asteroid out of it. So this is an asteroid that is being mined, and in addition to beads, there's a couple of figural beads here that are they look like little Easter Island figures, statues. And the first ones I found, which I can't seem to locate right now, were about this big, and they were gray in color. And I thought that those would be the little astronauts on their little jet packs. Like here's one. This is a stone one, but I think it's supposed to be a person. So here he is, with his little jetpack, gathering the pearl from the pearlescent asteroid to bring it back for Elon Musk to rule the world. So that's what this one is. And I might find another couple of things to add to this, but I think this is relatively done. Here's an area that has already been scoured clean, and here's some that are still ready to be taken. Okay, so here's one. You saw the clear one with the brightly colored gems. So one of the things that I've learned in watching these movies is like every moon of Saturn or Uranus, or they're all different. You'd think that they'd be alike, but somehow all of the molecules of methane went over to that one, and all of the molecules of something else went over there, and this one has volcanoes, and this one has oceans, and this one has who knows what all. So I've been sort of building these balls similarly. So this was in our collection of dinner and cooking and place setting stuff. There was these spherical brass salt and pepper shakers. So this, you got it, is the pepper shaker. So here's the big hole in the bottom where you'd put the pepper. And there's one hole at the top. So I started by putting a string through the little hole. It's always easy. Start with the little hole, put the string in there, and then find it as it comes out the back of the hole, and then start wrapping them around. And wrapping string around a ball is not easy. And then I added black and sometimes a sort of gunmetal blackish bead to it. So this is the pepper one. Now what I'd love to do with this one is with little tiny, if I can find little itty bitty tiny black beads like this, I'm going to have some of them sort of suspended above the planetoid here to make the astronaut sneeze. So here's this one. The salt. So here's the top of the salt. You see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes on this one, and then some corrosion on the brass oxidation. So these represent the salt crystals. Now I know salt is a crystal, not a circle, not a sphere, but in an alternative universe, that's not how they are. So here's the salt and pepper shaker. The salt and pepper asteroids being mined by Musk. Okay, next. This one started out in the center. There was a big gob of tangled string and a couple of beads, and it started out with something that looked kind of like this, just a bunch of loose stuff that I just didn't even want to try to bother to untangle. So I was building this one like planets are built, by accretion, I think they call it, where they, the gravitational pull will drag something in, and then something else will get dragged in, and that'll drag in a third thing, and then soon you've got this thing that looks like this. And as it gets bigger, it becomes more and more spheroid because of the gravitation. So this one is, rather than being mined, this could be mined. This could have been built with all these things and been this big and then being mined, but this one is sort of being built. So it's now, if this was Pluto, I mean, this is maybe what Pluto looks like. So that's why it's not a planet, because it's a planetesimal. Bite me. It's like these astronauts, I realize that they run out of names because there's too many stars and stuff. So they have to use numbers and digits and stuff. But, there's only so many Greek and Roman gods. But when you have a big black hole and end up calling it a super duper black hole, it seems like, oh, come on, please. So this one is a crystal one. This is, it was a necklace that had a bunch of crystals like this in it, but they were cemented onto a piece of clay, and the clay had all crumbled. So I decided to just build it up. So again, this is an asteroid that might have been mined. It has a little cowbell on it here, and these are little chips of glass, or not glass, but stone, quartz. There was a long strand that I wrapped around and then tied. So this is sort of neat by itself. Now this at the lake, one could put a string on it and then have this be one of the light poles. So I've got plans for these things. Okay, I had 3. Do I have them all here? No, I have to get another one. So let's just save that for a minute. I'll be right back. Don't go away. I've made a bunch of these things. I've discovered. Talk about this one next. Those go here. These go there. This goes there, and there, and there, and here. So this was actually the first one I started making, was this one, and it was a softball that the dog found in the dump and carried back to us, and someone paid $2.50, or someone was asking $2.50 for it, and ended up throwing it away. And now it was mine, and now I've added on this one, because of I kept the price tag on it because it was just so bright and orange, and I had some really bright orange beads. I don't know if you can see. There's little very bright orange beads in there, and turquoise, and some sea glass, and some more turquoise. I love the fake stitching here, which reminds me of a fossil of a fern. So, my mind, it goes all over the place when I'm looking at these things, and I try to have each one be a unique item. This is the softball one. Now this is, I don't know what, and I had a necklace that my father had made that had this single strand, so I like the fact that it's like about to break. And this little fishhook-like thing, whatever this is, some Chinese carved, whatever this red thing is made of. This was part of a necklace that would have been complete probably like that, but I'm using it as a little hook. So maybe this is one that they were going to drag back to Earth to mine. So that was the first one I did. And then I think the second one was the silver ball that you saw. And then I then I continued making them, but let me just show you some other ones here. This one, my brother was upset with me for making this one because he said, those are amber. And I said, amber? I don't think they're amber. Well, he showed me pictures of amber beads, and yes, they are amber. So I don't know what an amber piece of amber this size would be, but I've got 3 of them here, or 4 or 5. But this was another thing that I put all of the orange beads and buckles and baubles, and mainly orange, some brown, together. So this was sort of the Martian. This was Mars at the beginning of its accretion, and it's going to turn into something later. And then look, it is Mars because look, there's that face on Mars. There, that's what it looks like, right? Probably should, there, I'll remove that. It's a little loose now, but it's okay. That's how you see it usually. So it looks like a face at like 3 o'clock Martian time, between 3:01 and 3:06. It looks like that. And then when the sun moves, it completely looks different. So, but not to the ancient astronaut theorists out there. It's proof that whatever. So anyway, this is sort of fun. It's heavy. It's really neat. Then there were 3 candle holders I found. They were spheroids, spherical balls made of brass, very tarnished brass, and there was a spot in the center that was cut out in a big hole, and where you put the candle, and it was slightly, oh, this is the flat part for the bottom. Here's the hole where the candle would go. So this one, I decided I was going to have this sort of be almost like it's a magnet. So all of these balls, these metal balls, are stuck to it because of the magnetic attraction. So that was, and then I like how this ball has another ball on top of that, like a snowman. So this sort of cracks me up, makes me smile. Does it make you smile? How about you? You'd never smile if I tickled you and showed someone slipping on a banana peel. You know, you just Mr. Grumpy. So the other one, there were 2 that were one size and one that was a little bit bigger. And why is this? I guess. And this one has some brightly colored beads and these hollowed out ivory or bone things, plus this, whatever this is, this little metal thing. So this is sort of has everything in the kitchen sink being attracted to it, not just metal balls. So some of them look a little bit more chaotic than others, but you can see how the astronauts had cleared this out. And here I like, there's 2 different kinds of string. I have beige tan string and I've got black string. So I like how this one has both strings being used to create it. So again, these look like the canals on Mars. And this one is the larger of the 2. This is a ring. I like it again because it looks like this is the anchor that they're using to maybe tie this to the other one and drag it back to the Earth. Made in India. So this one again has a little bit of everything on it, including these very rare blue beads. So these three sort of belong together. Well, two are kind of imagined in that magnetic one. What's this one? This one started out as a gob of string that was almost as big as this. And there was a piece of leather that had been tied together and had a button on it. And so I just wrapped this with lots of little tiny bits of things that were just the beginnings of a necklace. And like, something, I'm trying to find something that has three things on it only, like this. This could have been added to it. Though I might add this one to the Martian one, just because of its orangeness. So there's some really bright sparkly bits. There was a 8-inch long string of these cut diamonds. You can't even see that they're there, but when you rotate them, there's these little sparks that you don't really know where they're coming from because you don't see them fully. So I kind of like the surprise there, but this is clearly everything in the kitchen sink is in this one. There's another one that started out as a gob. My brother looked at this and thought I phoned this one in. Really? He said, really? And I said, yes, really. Bite me. This one had a bunch of blue string and a couple of iridescent blue balls and some blue buttons. So this, again, is one that's being accreted, built up rather than, though it could be one that was mined. All the lapis lazuli has been removed, and this is the core is left. Here's another one. Again, this started out as a big pile of string, and one of the strings had some beads on it, some pearls, and that was tangled up in all the string, and I just started there and then added all sorts of beigey, white, and tan, this, and a few surprises into this one, but it's mainly sort of pearls. Oh, I could add, maybe I'll add this one to this one to this. What I don't want these thin white strings showing, and I don't want to restring all of these things. So I have to, tie these things together and then sort of hide the white string because I don't like the white string. It's too cheap looking. So that'll be added to this one. Okay. That's to be finished. I made 3-ish asteroids that are already mined. So these are antler bracelets, rings. They could have been bracelets, I guess. And I tied them together to resemble some sort of sphere, and it's been chipped away by the astronauts. I'm going to get one more of those beads. And then he gets a bead and he takes it back to the ship and comes back. So I then took black string and added little bits of brass rings to it. And then this, I don't know what these things are. I don't know if they're nuts. They're really lightweight, and they were in a complete gob. I think they were meant to be a necklace, but it was too impossible to deal with. So I made that the core of this asteroid, and they're not valuable at all. On the outside was this sort of crust that was made of antler, and they dug these big holes and to get the good stuff, and they found the good stuff, and now they're done. So, but it's these little brass bits floating in between all these things that I thought was sort of fun. These little tiny brass rings. So on that same note, I made this one, and this one has a thing hanging down in the middle of it, and it has 3 rings longitudinally going around, and that's vaguely spheroid. Again, this is like that other one, except this one has a very valuable solid fool's gold interior, and this is being mined for that one thing. They just have, or maybe they got that far and then realized that this was radioactive or something. So who knows? I should make sure that none of this might be in focus, so whatever. Okay. Almost done. Then I started with another gob of string, and I really liked this one. The gob had these rings coming out here like this of string, and then at the other end it had these long strings hanging out as I was tying it together. And it reminded me of the protuberances of the sun, when you see, the surface of the sun shoot up all this stuff and then comes back down and flies off into space. And then I also thought it had these transparent fishing line string coming out. And in my brain, it was going between this sort of protuberance, magnetic lines of magnetism to the Large Hadron Collider, where one necklace was put at one end and another necklace was put at the other end, and they sped up to 99.9999999% of the speed of light and ran into each other. And then the little particles, the little muons and bosons or whatever these things are, flying off. So that's what these little beads are sort of dangling off are. So what do you think about that? Okay, what do I think about this? I don't like that. I don't. I'm going to take that and tie that to this. Sticking out too much. There. Tie it with a ribbon, throw it in the deep blue sea. Oh, no. So that's this one. So it's not quite a planet. I mean, it could be an asteroid with a magnetic thing on it. So then the only other one that you haven't seen is this one. This one has a solid silver ball interior and all of these rings on the outside. And there were 2 rings that I found. I thought I would find a spot to add them. I don't know where the other ring, oh, here it is. So should I put this ring inside of that ring? Would that be a good idea? I think I'll do a double ring. So this thing had started off having tan rope or string holding it together, waxed linen string, but I'm going to use black. So I'll just make a couple loops around here. and then I keep finding these rings. I was looking for them earlier, and I know there's probably a drawer full of 1,000 of them downstairs, but I'm trying not to take raw materials. I'm trying to take only the things that sort of were debris from my father's making them. And my brother was saying, well, what if Sue or Sydney or Sam want to make jewelry? Because they all have. And I said, well, if they really want that piece of amber, they can take the thing apart. I'm not destroying these things. They're perfectly safe. Where is this one going to go? I think it's going to, I don't know. Where's the spot for this one? I want a spot that doesn't have a lot going on. Maybe I don't have room for this one. I don't want to completely hide the... Okay, this is done. I'm done with that one. This one I can add to. No, this one I'll add somewhere else. I don't know. I'm not getting the thing. So here's another one I'm working on here. I really like this shell that had the shiny interior to it, and with the pieces of turquoise and stuff. So this is like the equator of a asteroid. So this side, the back side, is going to be full of black and white things to match this. And then I'll probably add a bunch of little beads to sort of make it roughly spherical, hemispherical. And this side is the side that's over been carved into, and all of the good stuff is being extracted from this side. So in here, on this side, will be brightly colored pieces of turquoise and beads, and maybe a couple of those diamondy things in here. And then on the back side will be these beads. So I may need to get some black. I was going to have these be there, but these are sort of purple, and it didn't work for me. So, but I like the cracked mosaic. It's like, what's the frozen world, the frozen moon that has the cracks of ice? Titan, is that it? I mean, I could have this side. I don't know. I think I want to have these things back there, though. It's my thought. It's my plan. And then on here is really the bright, shiny, sparkly bits. So what can I make here for you? I can take this one, and I can, why don't I do this? I'll tie these together. God, it's painful. No, I'll do this. I'll take a piece of, where's my beige string spool? I think I buried it. Take this, tie that to this end. Come on. These little tiny strings. My father would take this large diameter string, and he would divide it in half, and then divide it in half again. I think there are 4 strings that make up this one string. And he'd use the little tiny strings, like this is a half a string here. And then he'd need to divide it again to tie the really, really fine hold pieces of coral and little tiny beads. And how he could get his 75-year-old and 80-year-old and 90-year-old, I guess he wasn't doing it when he was 90, but how he could make his fingers get in to do what I'm doing here, but do it so, like right here, this is a single, you can't make this any thinner than it is. And how he pushed that little string through that little tiny hole. Sometimes it takes me many, many minutes to get the string through the hole. Okay, so there is, are you coming undone now? Stay. I guess it'll stay. Uh-oh, fuck. Oh, no. Not fuck. Sometimes I do that, I'll end up cutting off I go to the other end and all of the beads have fallen off because I've strung it through, kept pulling on the string that held them all together. Okay, so that's that string. Now pull this through. Keep pulling. Good. So once I get this through done, I'll string it in and out of this group, trying not to hide too much. I don't want you to I don't want to completely hide what's underneath. I want there to be layers of depth. You know, the artwork I make is pretty superficial. What you see is what you get. You can go to the next one. You don't have to sit and ponder over artwork that I make. It's pretty simple. I'm not one of those deep artists. And these things aren't very deep either, but I do like them to physically have depth. I like there to be depth. Okay, I don't want you to go back to where you started. You have to make the tour. Shit. This piece head. Can I cut this off, or will it just... It's like, I think this had stuff over it that now came undone. Can I cut this off, or will that completely destroy? I really don't like that. Let's take that off. So it all doesn't come apart. Okay, back to this. So I'm just going to start here. Come Come on. Lasso. Come on, lasso. Fuck. It started to slip. I don't like it when it does that. Okay, now we have our meandering pearl necklace. Get your mind out of the gutter there, people. And if your mind wasn't in the gutter, look up slang for pearl necklace and then have fun in the gutter with me. There is, in fact, a woman whose yacht that anchors in Maine is called Pearl Necklace because she wanted a pearl necklace and never got one from her husband, but after the divorce she got a handsome settlement and bought a yacht, which she named Pearl Necklace. But maybe she wanted the other kind of pearl necklace all along. Maybe the husband could have gotten off lightly. Did I say this channel was made for children? Nope. Okay, so there you go. This is sort of an odd man out, this piece right here, because it isn't spherical. And it's part of something else, but I think I'm going to remove it. And hopefully it won't take everything else with it. Okay, so I have another couple of these little things that I can add to it here and there if I so desire. I also have another one of these I can add if I so desire. And I'll make that decision. My brother has told me that I have got to stop this today. So it does sort of look as if this part of the area that has been already mined looks like it's here. That's kind of nice. I like that. I mean, when you're mining asteroids, you don't have to take the asteroid apart perfectly. It can be lopsided, and that's not going to bother anyone. We don't think. So this one again is going to have really brightly bits on this side in the cave, and then on the outside we'll have the black and white beads here. And hopefully I can make that at some point, but I need to do some other stuff right now, which I will do. Bye.